Welcome back. Here with another video after the draft. This time I want to discuss the top transfer portal players in women's college basketball. As far as April 18th, 2023, already a lot of big names in the portal, and I just wanted to make a video compiling those top players. Starting off with a bang, as most of you probably may know, we have Haley Van Lith out of Louisville. Van Lith's shocking decision still hasn't worn off on me, really anyone, I'm sure, at this point. This one was one of the more shocking transfers I've really ever witnessed, if I'm being honest. She was that Louisville team and had a great connection with Coach Walls. I've always loved Coach, but I really started liking Louisville when she enrolled there, so it is a little sad to see her leave. This came after Jada Curry from Cal announced she would be going to Louisville, transferring to Louisville, and a lot of people were overly excited about what kind of backcourt duo Curry and Van Lith would be. But not long after that, HVL entered the portal. She's a program changer wherever she goes, a high-volume shooter with a crafty ability to get off a mid-range shot despite her smaller size. Van Lith averaged nearly 20 points per game and a few assists. She's also very durable and athletic, averaging almost 37 minutes per game this season, basically played the whole game, every game, and started in all of her games at her career with the Cardinals, where she was a part of 3 different Elite 8 teams. Van Lith earned her degree at Louisville, so she's technically in the portal as a transfer grad student. If you know anything about her, the way she plays, she just has that dog in her that's really one of a kind. She was highly recruited out of high school and was very well known as she worked out with a lot of pros like Kobe Bryant. She's one of my favorite players ever, and I'm excited to see where she goes. She went into the portal as a do not contact, which usually is the case for when a player knows exactly where they're going. Currently, she is on a visit at LSU, and that seems to be the front runner as to where she'll land. So, with that, she would be coached under Kim Mulkey, paired with Angel Reese, and some really good freshman recruits coming in. It'd be a very good LSU, very good, interesting, fun LSU team if that were to fall through. So we'll just have to wait and see. Again, you never really know when they commit. It could be soon, it could still be a while, but she is currently on an official visit in LSU. Next up, Anissa Morrow out of DePaul. In Morrow, a program will be getting one of the most productive players in the country. She still has 2 years of eligibility remaining. She has tallied a double-double in 53 of her 66 career games. She led the Big East in rebounding the past 2 seasons and was second only to Maddie Segrist in scoring both these last 2 years. Her field goal percentage did drop, largely due to a significantly increased number of three-point attempts. Morrow's next stop might need her to spend more time in the paint, back in the paint where she was and is just more dominant. She's a player that at times flew under the radar, I feel like, because she played at DePaul and not necessarily a big name program. She has had many 30, even a few 40-point double-doubles at times, and it's just a workforce down low. Like Van Lith, a player any team in the country would take. She is announcing her final 3 schools sometime soon. She did just post on Twitter, but people are thinking it'll be between Notre Dame, South Carolina, and Maryland. Celeste Taylor out of Duke. Taylor said in March she would use her bonus COVID year to finish her career at Duke, but announced just recently she was moving on for the second time in her career. After playing her first 2 seasons at Texas, Taylor became the glue for the Blue Devils. This is one that was shocking to me because she made it seem like she was on board to returning to Duke, but I really like this for her. I've always said this, but I always said I would like to see her go play for a better program. I mean, not that Duke's bad by any means. I just felt like she'd make a better fit somewhere else. She has always been one of my favorites and is the definition of an all-around player for sure, especially as a guard, has great length and height. Taylor's Duke's catalyst on defense and their leader. She averaged 11 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals, along with being in talks for a lot of defensive awards her 4 seasons in college. She has a really nice 3-point shot and mid-range shot and is very athletic as far as getting to the rim. She's most known for her defense, though, and is arguably the best defender in the country. It seems as though Ohio State is a front runner for her as of now and on Twitter. She would complement that full court press defense very well, and a lot of people are talking about that, how great of a fit that would be, and her and JC Sheldon would make an amazing backcourt duo. For Duke, they also lost a very good scoring guard in Cheyenne Day Wilson, so Duke is in a really rough spot right now this offseason. Lauren Betts, the 2022 number one high school recruit in the country, leaving Stanford after just one season, might be just as surprising as Van Lith's departure from Louisville. Her opportunities in her first season were limited, with Betts' opportunities were limited, averaging just around 10 minutes per game, with Cameron Brink as the top low post threat for the Cardinal. With Betts' size, skill level, and 3 years of eligibility, Betts has plenty of time to develop into the player her rankings indicate she could be. UConn, South Carolina, Notre Dame, UCLA, and Louisville were among the other schools a Colorado native considered during her recruitment, but today she just announced she will be heading to UCLA. With Charisma Osborne coming back for another year after most thought she would be in the draft this year, and the likes of star freshman Kiki Rice, who had a great freshman year this year, UCLA is looking like a complete squad next year and definitely the Pac-12 favorite. Stanford has lost a good chunk of players to the portal, and after losing Jones to the WNBA, it is not looking good for them, although Brink hasn't entered the portal yet, and I would assume she doesn't, although I'm not sure when that window closes, but I know it is within the next month, I believe. Sometime around mid-May, I think it shuts. The transfer portal does shut. But it'll be interesting to see what Brink does. I mean, as of now, it looks like she's staying and going to stick it out, but definitely an interesting route for Stanford there. Tahina Paopao, her departure really shocked me for the most part. To the average person, probably not at all, due to the high amount of transfers we've seen leave this Oregon program throughout the last few years. I just thought since she stuck it out last year after a lot of them left, that she was just there to stay, to finish it out. Now, none of the 5 players from Kelly Graves' number 1 rated 2020 recruiting class will finish their careers in Eugene. Despite injuries hampering the first 2 years of her career, Paopao was one of the best of the bunch. A first-team All-Pac-12 selection in her first 2 years, she endured an up-and-down junior campaign, but might have been playing the best basketball of her career. By the end of the season, she averaged 20 points per game in Oregon's final 9 games this year. Paopao was at her best with the ball in her hands, but can also play on the wing and could slide in any backcourt in the country. She's a player I really enjoy watching and one of the most underrated in the game, I believe, largely, I think, because of how Oregon didn't have the best season this year. Along with Paopao, Oregon's other star guard, India Rogers, is also in the portal, who led them in scoring with 16 points per game. So definitely a big blow for Oregon as well this season, just like a lot of other teams like Stanford. Definitely going to be interesting to see how they rebuild or what they do. Lexi Donarski departs Ames after starting her entire career, averaging 13 points and 3 rebounds per game this year, plus a Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year nod. She could be a difference maker for a team that needs an upgrade for their perimeter defense, but is content playing off the ball on offense. Her three-point accuracy has dropped nearly 10% since her freshman year, but Donarski remains an elite free throw shooter at 87% last season and has just those types of intangibles that are key in an elite guard. It seemed to be the Ashley Jones show for the most part, and I would look for her to go somewhere where she'll be more of the vocal point on offense. But with the amount of guards in the portal, high-quality guards even, and just the amount of guards on every good team in college nowadays, that might be hard to come by as far as finding a team where she'll be that vocal point. So either way, she'll make a contending team happy with her ability to play on both sides of the ball as a combo guard. The last main player I'm going to cover here, another high-scoring guard. Diamond Johnson was the leading scorer for NC State, but was limited to 22 games this year because of an ankle injury. She last played February 16th, missing the ACC and NCAA tournaments, which was a big blow for the Wolfpack. Johnson was a 6th ranked recruit in 2020. The 5'5" guard from Philadelphia played her first season with Rutgers and made the Big Ten's all-freshman team, had a great freshman year there. She spent the past 2 seasons at NC State, was the ACC 6th Player of the Year last year, when the Wolfpack made the Elite Eight. She's a shorter guard that does a great job creating her own shot at the crossover, step back, and finishes at the rim while very crafty. Another guard that will be on a lot of teams' radar. Other key transfers include Jada Curry from Cal, who is now at Louisville. A smaller but very good scoring guard that I mentioned earlier. Shayday Wilson out of Duke and Rogers out of Oregon, who I've all mentioned. Kennedy Todd Williams was one of the first transfers to hit the portal. A good player out of North Carolina that's committed to Ole Miss. Jakia Brown-Turner also left NC State, has 1 year left, and is committed to Maryland. There are hundreds and hundreds of other players in the portal, a lot of high caliber players as well that I didn't cover. There seems to be like a 10-to-1 ratio when it comes to guards to posts in the portal. These last few years of college basketball offseason seem to turn into a free agency basically. I'm not the biggest fan, but I do really enjoy it. So it's a fun time, and I just thought I'd give you guys some insight on the top players in the portal right now heading into next year. It's going to be a very, very interesting college basketball season next year for sure. The draft class, as far as the 2024, is looking to be one of the best probably there ever is, with Paige Beckers, Caitlin Clark, Haley Van Lith, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, Aaliyah Edwards, even players like Charisma Osborne, who decided to use another year and enter the draft this year. So it's going to be a great season next year, and it'll be interesting to see where these players end up. I'll try to leave a comment when any of these players decide where they're going. Other than that, just stay active on Twitter, or even just looking up their names on the internet. The news gets out pretty fast. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in again.